The sewers are dark, but my life is bright because I've got you. But if the humans knew, I don't know what they'd do. If only they knew the truth. I gotta feed you cottage cheese once a day. You need to keep it that way, because if I don't, you'll kill them all. If they just leave me alone. It's the secret life of a sewer monster and his pal, who could kill you, but he doesn't, because I feed his need with cottage cheese. Please ignore me if you see me in your grocery store. I'm just trying to save your life. There are times when I wonder if it wouldn't be better just to let them all die. Guess I could even do it myself instead of running every time to hide. But I guess I can see a little piece of me every time that I try. Every time that I try. It's either them or me. It's either them or me. And I can't do it. Secret life of a sewer monster and his pal, who could kill you, but he doesn't, because I feed his need with cottage cheese. Please ignore me if you see me in your grocery store. I'm just trying to save your life. Just trying to save your life.
My favorite thing, I don't go anywhere without it. I'm gonna tell you all about it. It's about 7 inches long. It fits right in my hand. I know it might sound strange, but try to understand. It's my favorite thing. My favorite thing. Every morning, every night, I put it in my mouth. It goes in and out and in, north and south. It's my favorite thing. My favorite thing. After a while, my mouth fills up with a liquid, frothy and white. So I spit it out and start over again, much to my delight. Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? It's my toothbrush, my happy little toothbrush. Shame on you for thinking it was something else.
My favorite thing, my favorite thing. I wanna scream and shout it, I gonna tell you all about it. It's soft and pink and warm to the touch, but it gets all wet if you touch it too much. It's my favorite thing, my favorite thing. Sometimes it's all hairy, sometimes not. It's kinda like a little door with a sideways mail slot. It's my favorite thing, my favorite thing. Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? It's vagina. I love me some vagina. You thought it was gonna be something clever, but it's vagina. It's my favorite thing, my favorite thing.
And the Grand Poobah said to no one in particular, I love you. And sex was created, and all was way real. And then the planets became manifest. And so started the cosmic at the creation and said, and all was not way cool.
Next time, I'll
So, else we will all soon be dead. Be happy now. And
the experience of living becomes such a common thing that we almost become blind to it. But there's those moments when I'll realize that it really is not that common of a thing, that it really is an exciting thing to have this moment in time. And I guess what I try to do is I try to keep myself from becoming blind to it.
Welcome to Chicago Arts. We recently caught up with Alberto Aguilar, whose personal dinner invitation project blurs the line between life and art.
There was two curators who wanted to pay me a visit, a studio visit actually, and right away I was a little concerned because at that point I no longer had a studio. I invited them to come over anyways, and I thought that I would treat them, you know, one of the things I guess that I'm really good at is, you know, being hospitable to people who come into my home. So I figured that that's what I would do. Like I would be very hospitable to these curators. I would give them coffee. I would give them pastries. I invited people. I made 1,000 friends on Facebook with the intentions of doing this dinner. Now those people were sort of connected, mostly connected to the art community here in Chicago, but at the same time there were people that were loosely connected to the art community in Chicago. But they were all strangers, so I didn't know anybody. And you know, I mean, I tried to create arrangements of people. Out of the people that I invited, only 109 people said that they would be attending. So those are the people that I had to choose from. I sort of see them as curations, you know, where I am putting together the people that I thought that there would be some sort of interesting connection or interaction between the people. I guess the thing that I wanted to most achieve through these dinners is to create a strong, long-lasting memory. So I did a lot of things to make this happen. One of the things that I did was I played the same music over and over again throughout the dinners. Like it was nonstop. There was always music at these dinners, and it was a soundtrack that I made that was you know, composed of mostly songs that were sort of like maybe nostalgic or slightly on the sad side. So that was one thing that I did to reinforce the memory. The other thing was that I gave henna tattoos at these dinners. Like I would give them to each person, and I would time the henna tattoos that I gave for 6 minutes. Well, one thing that I decided on early on was that, you know, this wasn't going to be an eccentric experience. You know, it was actually going to be a very normal experience. Some people were really surprised to see when they came that it actually was me having them into my home. And the other thing that I decided, maybe this is probably after the second dinner, second dinner, I decided that I wasn't going to take any pictures because I didn't want to be the one who, like I didn't want that to be my concentration. I didn't want to have to think about documenting this thing. I do desire to go into other people's homes and to eat from their table. That's something that I love. It doesn't happen as often as I would like. It happens, but it doesn't happen as often as I like. But yeah, who doesn't like a magical night?
For more information on Alberto and his works, visit albertoaguilar.com. All pertinent links can be found in the info section of this video. Thank you for watching Chicago Arts. Do you know someone involved in the arts in Chicago? Suggest and vote for individuals you would like to see interviews of through Google Moderator. Be sure to join us for our next episode and stay informed by subscribing to our channel. We'd like to hear what you think, so take a moment and comment on this interview. Thank you again from Chicago Arts.
Hello, this is Philip Jewell for Blue Hat TV. We recently visited Madison, Wisconsin, and spoke with artist Dave Tilton about the photographic process that he uses to create his digital art.
The technique I use is a radical departure from most techniques in photography. And it actually takes place without composing through the camera's lens. It takes place through composing based on elements that I've recorded using a camera and working within a digital environment using a program like Photoshop. Because of this, I get to create the scene rather than having to document the scene as you would normally be restricted to for the most part in photography. By taking this experimental approach, I started to work with how I feel or think about landscapes rather than how I want to take a landscape. As a part of that, I started to work on a series of images that I refer to as remembered landscapes, because I'm reconstructing them out of my memory and my impression of them, using photographs or digital samples from a very wide variety of sources, none of them that actually have anything to do with that particular landscape. When I take samples, I use just a small digital camera, and I'm taking photographs of very unusual things for the most part. I'll take photographs of light patterns, and basically that's what I'm trying to sample is light and light energy. So I look at light and shadow, texture, how light and shadow creates texture, and how light creates color. I use Photoshop like a visual synthesizer in effect, and I use sometimes or most often hundreds and hundreds of visual samples that I've taken to create my compositions. Photography usually carries a very documentary aesthetic, and what I've done is to go back rethinking how we bring the image into the photographic process to create images that have a very painterly aesthetic. I studied painting technique to learn how to shape and extend the ability to work with texture and the ability to create color. When I started to work with this technique, I actually went and spent a great deal of time looking at paintings, and especially became interested in Rothko. I was interested in Rothko because of the way he created his color and the way he created his depth in color. Many, many, many thin washes. He created this incredible depth and a sense of movement in color. And I found that really fascinating. And I also found it very similar to the way I was starting to think about how to work the technique in terms of working with layer. I also began to really recognize what the computer brings to the creation of art. By giving an artist the power and the ability to go in and affect the detail of texture, to go in and nuance textures and colors beyond what may be available to artists using other mediums.
Dave told us about his electronic music series of digital images.
I've gone back and done a series of 6 images that work with major figures in the advancement of electronic music. Steve Reich, Wendy Carlos, Leon Theremin, Brian Eno, and John Chowning are the ones I've worked on so far. When I work on those images, I listen to their compositions and their performance and read about them, read about what they did to advance their technique or advance electronic music, and think about that in terms of continuing to advance the techniques I'm working with.
Dave's wife is photographer Paula Oler. She told us about their studio and gallery space.
We are leasing a space in the Atwood neighborhood of Madison. Atwood, we're actually right on Shanks Corners, which is an intersection where about 5 streets come together. So there's a lot of walking traffic in this neighborhood. It's an old commercial district. This building was a grocery store when it first developed, and we liked this area for the energy. There's a lot of artists in the neighborhood. There was a framer in the neighborhood, and it allowed us to open for gallery nights where we probably have 300 people come into the space on the gallery nights twice a year, sometimes more. When it's a really beautiful May night in Wisconsin, we, I think, had close to 500 people, which is a great way to expose Dave's work to the Madison community, which is very supportive of the arts. People who come out on gallery night are very engaged with both the work and knowing the artist. There's a lot of conversation that focuses on the intent and the purpose, which we find really invigorating.
If you would like more information about Dave Tilton and Paula Oler, visit their website at CARTA, C-A-R-T-A, studioworks.com. You may view additional Blue Hat TV videos at bluehat.tv or visit our regular website at bluehat.biz and click on the video blog link. Thanks for watching Blue Hat TV.